going live here on a Sunday. Hope everybody is enjoying themselves. So, first things first, I want to apologize for last weekend. I went live and I had some crazy technical. I like to go live in a public setting most of the time. Sometimes I just go in the backyard or whatever the case may be. But man, I had a lot of technical issues last time going live. It was raining. I tried to do it from the car. The service was shoddy, so I apologize, but it's okay. Redemption week, you know what I mean? Having some coffee. All right, so first and foremost, what's on the wrist is what people want to know usually, and I've got the Zesei on wrist, the GMT. Now, I just did a video review showcasing two of the Zesei watches that I have, and this is the second one, GMT. It's a fantastic watch, man. At the end of the day, I was really impressed with Zesei was doing with their watches. As you guys know, I did the review of their White Eyes, which, you know, I've also seen other reviews on these watches, and a lot of people are saying that they're actually impressed. I'm impressed because of higher factors, right? Like, one thing that I like about Zesei off the bat is they made a change right when I was doing the collaborations with them to the watches, where they did sapphire glass on their crystals. I think that's the biggest confusion right now with the company. Just so you guys know, moving forward, Zesei is looking to do sapphire crystal on their glass. So, you know, if you're looking at their watches and you're seeing some reviews that are saying that they aren't a sapphire glass, they are in fact a mineral glass, it is wrong right now because they made the updates to the crystal being sapphire. So all of their watches, I think it's all of their watches. It's definitely the White Eyes Dragon, and it's definitely this GMT watch because I actually send them the video. So one thing, all right, so I don't like any companies that I do reviews for watches to have any control over my videos, right? At the same time, obviously, we have to report the facts. So the only thing that, and I'll be transparent with you guys, the only thing that I do is I send the review to Zesei so they could review it just to make sure that everything is in fact up to date and everything is factual on what that I'm presenting for the watch. And they actually came back to me and said, hey, love the review, because I showed it to them before I made it publicly. It was unlisted. And they were like, the crystal on it is actually sapphire. So that's my bad. You know what I mean? I should have checked it. I have a crystal tester, and I guess I was just rushing it. But that video is correct now. I made the changes to it before making it public. So I just want to make a public announcement to that the crystal on the Zesei that I did for this one and the White Eyes Dragon is in fact sapphire crystal. On this one specifically, it's sapphire crystal on the front, and it's actually mineral crystal for the back. So that's what I came up with the actual test reader that I had at home. But I love these watches. I love what Zesei is doing. Number one, they're listening to the community, because the reason why they made that change to this watch is they were listening to us consumers. And of course, at this point in time, man, it's like, just do sapphire. You know, mineral crystal has its benefits with the reflecting and not shattering and everything else, but people feel more comfortable with the sapphire crystal. And I think you're going to get more positives than negatives going with the sapphire crystal. So I was really happy that Zesei made that change to this watch. And one thing that I want to know, and again, I did a review video that I just released today for this, but guys, look at this dial, man. The dial on this is absolutely gorgeous. The date wheel is loomed. That's a cool party trick, right? Because at the end of the day, at nighttime, it's going to change over at the 12 o'clock, and then that aperture is going to move over, or the date wheel rather is going to move over, and then that's not going to get any sunlight, so it's not going to be lit. But at the end of the day, it's still cool, man. It's still cool to see, but I don't know, it's not really coming up super clear here. As a matter of fact, let me flip this over because this camera's a little better. Yeah. So check this out, man. Like, this dial is absolutely gorgeous. It reminds me of like a painting, right? An oiled painting. I don't know if you guys can see the details on it. If you can't see it here, check out the review that I just did. But that was what was most striking for me. And then I've been focused on GMTs in general, because as we know, with the NH34 being out, we're seeing a lot of iterations for GMT models that are really, really affordable. Of course, Seiko would be king as far as getting like the quality and everything else. I always give Seiko their flowers, because here, look at it. If it wasn't for Seiko making that movement, we wouldn't be able to have these things. And they actually manufacture movements for other companies to purchase and make their own iterations and everything else. And another thing I like about Zesei is not only do they listen to us enthusiasts on changing that crystal, but they also don't do a one-for-one copy. Now, this does look like a Bell & Ross case, right? It does have that feel. I had someone mention that they weren't really feeling the hands. I think that they felt that they were a little short. I think that they are long enough. And I think that the colorway is a very good play on for this style. And it's a nice enough difference from the Bell & Ross to make it its own. So I feel like it's enough step away from it. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. But at the end of the day, it's still affordable enough for us to acquire. And I think that that's heavily important for us affordable collectors, right? You guys know that, Lola, how are you? Good morning. I know that us enthusiasts, a lot of us are affordable watch collectors. You guys know that majority of my collection are sub 500. So that's what I've been releasing as far as review videos, aside from doing my collaborations with micro brands, which obviously I have a lot of value in. And moving forward, that's going to be the direction for my collection. I'm actually going to go more heavy on the micro brand, but I'm still going to give affordable brands like this my love, and I'm gonna open my channel up to do reviews because I just like stuff that's accessible, man. I like for everybody to be able to purchase watches like this and not have to break the bank account, if you will. So I was excited to do the review on this watch, and they actually sent me two of them, right? They sent me this one as well, which I also feature. Let me take that off the wrist so you guys can see exactly what that watch looks like. And I'm gonna talk about a lot of things with Zesei. Even though I did the review for it, I like to show love, you know, when it comes to a point in case and time to do so. So we have great finishing here on the case, right? We have a rubber strap. You guys saw the bracelet on this one. Their bracelet is actually very, very nice. And that's the first thing that I start off on my reviews, because that's where we see a lot of affordable brands kind of save money, right? It's hard to have a very nice bracelet and it be still affordable. Now, is this like a Tissot PRX bracelet? No, but if the Tissot PRX bracelet is considered a 10, I would say that this is a 7.5. We don't have quick micro adjustments. This is tooled micro adjustments, but the clasp is very nice. Now, here's the reason why I really like them doing this style clasp rather than the butterfly clasp that opens up on two sides. If you do the butterfly clasp, then it's hard to get the right measurements if you don't do a half link, right? So if you're not gonna do a half link, I definitely think that you should do a clasp like this, which is just a push to appointment clasp. And they did very, very nice on the finishing with it. And they do have some branding on there. I know a lot of people feel a type of way about the company name. It doesn't bother me in particular. It's like, you know, for me, it's like whatever, you know, like it's a Zesei. Like, I don't see what the big deal about it is, but I respect if you guys feel a type of way. And then it comes with a rubber strap. This one came with a green strap that matched the chapter ring. And this one came with the blue strap that also matches the chapter ring. And you guys seen from my videos how their packaging is. They give you a watch roll. They give you a second band. It's a GMT watch. You get sapphire crystal, which this crystal is heavily domed on this, right? So it's nice that it's sapphire. It's almost like the bezel, if you will. It's like a see-through bezel, if you can imagine that for a crystal. But again, the dial is just stunning. With whatever color you choose from this watch, I think it's absolutely just a beautiful piece. And if it's the right time to add a GMT to your collection, then, you know, for sure, this would be a good option. And I think that they paired the colors very, very nicely. All right, let me see what's going on in the chat. Good morning, Oscar. Good morning, brother, man. How are you, sir? Should I buy a Citizen? Listen, man, Citizen, you can't go wrong with no matter what watch you go with them. They're a solid, solid company. Citizen versus, like, let's say Seiko, I would say even Citizen is starting to climb up, and people are paying more attention to Citizen right now because of their quality control and because of their, you know, their solar light watches and everything else. So Citizen, I don't know that model in particular. I don't think off the top of my mind, but you can't go wrong with a Citizen, brother, if that's what you're looking at. God is real, Jesus Christ saves. Okay. Does that include dome? Yo, you guys are whacked out. We got the wackos in here. NH34, Oscar. This one's an NH34, so it's a GMT. It's got that GMT hand on there. I know you can't probably tell from this one because they're a little lined up underneath the minute hand, but on here you can see the hour hand and the minute hand on the GMT hand rather. So NH34, fantastic watch. Featured it both in my channel. Now let's talk about. I want to piggyback a little bit. I was watching Jory Goodman actually his live. He actually experienced a little technical difficulty too on one of his lives recently, and he had to redo it. So I know the pain. I know the pain. But he was actually talking about fake watches, and he made a good point about straight up fake watches. And I'm going to piggyback off of that a little bit because there's a reason why I focus on a lot of homage watches or affordable watches in this case. And I have to say, after watching his live, I definitely agree that, you know, fake watches are not the way to go, right? Like, you don't want to put a fake Rolex on your wrist. And some people justify it by saying, hey, I don't want to put an expensive watch on my wrist, so I go with a fake watch in order to, in case it's stolen or everything else. But he made a good point, man. You're still attracting the wrong crowd. Like, the person who's trying to jack you is not going to know that that's a fake. So you have to be careful with that, which is the reason why I like affordable watches. I like homage watches. Now, with some of the homage watches I have, they're very, very close. So I would add that regardless, you know, if you're getting something that's homage and it's kind of close enough, you still have to be careful with that, right? Because even if the company name on it is different or they changed one or two things, then it's still a dangerous thing to be playing with when it comes to doing a homage watch. So it's kind of like, know your settings, know where you are. If you're traveling, obviously, you know, you may want to consider that. There's a lot of great affordable watches that you could put on your wrist. I would probably put like an F91W if I was that concerned about my settings and not being in home turf. So he had a good point on that, and that's something that I really feel like, you know, it could be easily fixed. And that's the only thing that on this channel I don't justify, and I'll never even make a comparison video from a fake watch to the real thing, like something that's trying to be passed off with having the exact company name, because it's illegal, man. And I think it's completely unnecessary. If we have homage watches that are one-for-one copies other than just the name, like you guys seen me do the Tandorio GMT that looks like a Rolex. And listen, that brings me to my next topic, because I like to do something a little different with my one-for-one copies, right? I'm into modifying, which you guys already know this. And I like to change the dial to a custom dial. I make my Santana dial on there. Something that I like to do. Am I going to do that on every single watch? No. Like this Zesei, for one, it's not a one-for-one copy because it does have design language from Bell & Ross with the case. But something like that Tandorio, I may change out the dial. And you guys saw the last Tandorio video I made from their, what was it? Seiko. What's their high-end brand? Holy smokes. Hold on now. Processing. You guys know what I'm talking about. The high-end Seiko, right? Oh, you guys are going to cook me for this one. But Grand Seiko. Wow. Grand Seiko. So on that one, they actually made a custom dial for me. I sent them the Santana logo that I wanted. They actually did that for me as a reviewer. And that's something that I like to do a little bit. Sometimes I'll change the hands out a little bit, you know, like I don't need it to be exactly one-for-one copy. And if you look at like one of my earliest watches, like my what is it called? Brain farts, PD, Pagani Design. Let me have some more coffee. My Pagani Design, I always liked the Rolex Submariner, and I got the Pagani Design one-for-one for that. And that was the first watch that I changed out the logo for. I actually put my Santana, and I was fatigued from the Rolex Mercedes hands. If we look at a lot of affordable watches, they use that kind of hand because that's the language design that they know people are most drawn to or attracted to. So I changed the hands into something that I really liked. I changed the dial to the Santana logo. And I actually made it a little sunburst. So if you can imagine that Rolex Submariner being a sunburst dial and having different like pointer style hands, very, very nice. That's just something that I like to do. And it made me think to myself, man, it would be really cool. And I don't know if any companies are out there listening to this live, but there should be an affordable brand that takes inspiration from high-end companies, stay with me, and offers the customer customizable options to change out all of the interior decoration, if we will. So if they wanted to change out the dial, they wanted to change out the hands, if they wanted to do a custom, like they should make a company, and maybe there's one out there, you guys let me know. But if there's a company out there that will change pretty much everything and give you that inspiration design to the high-end watches, because a lot of us can't afford to drop 10K on a watch, and that's okay. But does that mean you shouldn't enjoy that kind of design language? In my opinion, no. And I wear my homage watches very proudly. I'd wear my homage watches to a watch show, I promise you, because at the end of the day, yes, there's no heritage, granted, but regardless, there's still a story to that watch for me. And I'm giving you guys that story, right? My first Pagani design, I changed out the dial, I changed out the hands. It meant a lot for me, and it's very personal for me to have venture off into doing dial changes and making custom logos and everything else. And it just cascaded into even more things, and that led to me doing like the Watch Crunch inspired watch and whatever I wanted. I did a travel watch for Ben & Watch over at Watch Crunch. It's just, it led to great things, and it means a lot to me. So yes, I would wear that watch to a watch meetup, to be honest with you. I would have no problem doing that. And it is what it is. If somebody scoffs, then they scoff. Like, what are you worried about? I'm sorry, let me catch up on chat as I take a sip of this coffee. Speaking of your topic, wait, let me go back. 35. Cheers, man. Went to the AD this week, walked out with a luxury piece. He wanted to put it in a branded bag, but I told him no. So I walked out with a nondescript bag. Yeah. See, you're already touching upon that. You're already worried about somebody seeing that brand name, recognizing it, and you becoming a target. It's a real life thing. It's something that's important, especially for somebody like me that's pushing homage watches, getting that one-to-one copy. You know, beware of your surroundings, beware of where you are. Even if you do have an actual luxury watches, we are living in a time where it is dangerous to strap something on your wrist, especially with where the economy is and where, you know, people are hurting, people are getting hungrier, and they're doing the wrong things. And you just have to be mindful of that. And it was very smart of you, Stefan, to really, you know, be mindful of that. Especially, you actually had a luxury watch. You probably walked out that AD like this, right? You were like walking out there like, you know, nothing to see here. Maybe even with a book bag, right? Keep a book bag on, and I don't know, man. You just have to really be careful nowadays and really be mindful of where you're at. Creedor, I definitely. Oh yeah. Creedor too. Absolutely. Yeah, ignore me like a monkey. Well, you didn't even say anything. Morocco, wait, did I skip you? Hold on, let me go back. You didn't even say anything yet. I'm not ignoring you like a monkey. I got you, bro. Trap Vision 3D's in the building. What's up, brother, man? I had to come on here and do a live real quick, man. It's been a little quiet, man. It's been a little quiet without your lives, bro. I'm not gonna lie. We're getting a little withdrawal syndrome going on right now. So I figured, you know what? I have a little bit of time. Let me jump on here and speak of that jibber jabber right now. So I just did that release of the Zesei, and I was really thinking about the direction of this channel, man. We're gonna speak a little bit on that. And here's the deal, right? Like I always want to have value, even if it's just even if it's just entertaining. Like for me, as a watch enthusiast that goes on YouTube, I like to go on these lives that are longer format and put it on in the background and just listen to it while I do something. Even if they're just talking nonsense, a lot of the times it'll be off topic. It won't even be about watches. You know what I mean? So value from the channel, entertainment, you know, obviously you can come here on the channel and you can see some new companies. A lot of people that I posted Zesei about didn't even know about the brand. So obviously you saw the collaborations that I've done with independent brands and giving you guys the value of seeing the watch and the different B-roll shots that I do and giving the description and everything else. But, you know, we have to always align that with passion. And I'm oozing with passion, I think. And I don't think that that's ever an issue. But I think the next step for me in the channel is I want to talk about watches and talk about the passions behind them in general. For instance, I'm right now working on a video where I'm listing 11 important things, in my opinion, about watch collecting. And I'm curious, I got some people on here now, like, what would you guys say if you were talking to somebody getting into watch collecting and They were like, hey man, not the rules, right? Because everything is subjective, but what's something important that you would say about watch collecting is something that you follow as a rule for yourself? And I've been developing that kind of notion as I've been collecting for about 5 years now. There's do's and there's don'ts. Of course, we spoke about fake watches, and I'll never go that route. I'll never support that avenue. I don't think that there's ever really an excuse to do it. I think Jory on his the time teller on his channel said, excuse me, said on his channel that if it's a prop for a movie, it's okay. But, you know, other than that, like if they're gonna blow up the watch, right? It's okay. That's a special thing, and I kind of agree with that. But definitely staying away from straight up fakes is something that I wouldn't want to support, especially when we have so many options with the homage watches and everything else. But I'm curious to see what you guys would say. What is something that you would give as a gem to somebody saying, hey man, I'm so excited, I want to get away from this Apple Watch because it's a smartwatch, but it's not a timepiece. After me watching all these videos, I want something that's alive, something that's mechanical, something that's, what's mechanical? You know what I mean? Like somebody just really new to the game and they're like, but what should I look out for? What's something that I should really stay away from or steer from, you know? Let me check out, let me catch up. I'm going live today. I figured you might. I had my spider senses up with that, so I actually went on YouTube to make sure you weren't live right now. I want no money for that Coke I fronted you. You want the money for the Coke you fronted me? Oh man, I told you don't put that in chat, bro. Like, you know, we gotta talk offline. We're talking about Coca-Cola, by the way. After, actually after you're live. Okay, cool, man. Hey, listen. Do your thing, baby bird. If you want to go live now, go live now. I understand, but I respect and everything else. I don't want to get in your way. You can only be live, but ignore my calls. I want my money. Yo, the trolls is good, man. You're actually a decent troll. I'll give you that, man. You put a smile on my face. I don't have any moderators, so I'm just an open target, baby. Fire away. I don't know, man. If I had to say one thing about watch collecting, I would probably, this is gonna be corny, but it's the truth, man. It's the outro that I adopted actually from Trap Vision, and it's just it all started with the watch, right? So if you're gonna look to start collecting and get into this watch game, for one, all right. So I would probably say one thing first. I would say make it personal. Take all the information. You wanna pick my mind, no problem. I'll tell you about mechanical watches, solar watches, whatever. But at the end of the day, you gotta develop where you wanna go with this watch collection for yourself. You have to buy the pieces for yourself. Forget about what anybody's gonna recognize, what's on your wrist, or impressing anybody, or I don't know, man, just trying to I don't know, just trying to impress, right? Like at the end of the day, make the first watch you put in your collection super personal. Take your time, do your diligence, do your due diligence, find out all the information you need to find out about it. Don't get heavily influenced by videos, and that's why I make all of my videos objective, or at least I try to be. I put my opinion in there because I think people kind of care if I'm actually touch and feeling the watches. Then they want to know, hey man, you got the watch in hand, is it good or not? But I try to make it as objective as I can because I want people to buy responsibly. I don't want to just show you a watch and you say, hey, Skyler said it's good, I'm getting it. You have to make it personal. That's number one. Number two, it all started with the watch. So respecting each other's collection, right? Even if somebody goes with a one-for-one copy of a homage watch, yes, there's no heritage, and yes, there's a lot to say about it, but there's a reason why somebody put that on their wrist, and it's personal to them. And I just spoke about how I would wear a homage watch to a watch event if I wanted to. Matter of fact, I have, right? The Milghouse Watch Crunch inspired. It's a Rolex Milghouse homage. Even the hands and everything else. So that still was an exciting thing. A lot of the people in the Watch Crunch meetup that I went to after going to Windup, which is happening soon, were like really excited to see that there was a story there. So no, there was no history on it, but there was still something to add, and there was still a conversation that I could bring with having that watch even still. So respecting each other's type of way of going about collecting is a thing. Maybe they like fashion brands, maybe they like Invictus, maybe they like a Scametti. You know what I mean? It's cool, man. As long as you got a watch on your wrist, you okay with me, man. You okay with me. And I've gone on here and said some crazier stuff. So, all right, let me go. I'm going to do a live today. I want my money. Yeah, I know. Actually, after your live, you can be on live, but my bad. I'm trying to catch up. One of the most interesting things about watches for me is the story of its beginnings. Absolutely. The technology idea, the struggle. Hell yes. So now it's going to seem like I'm flip-flopping because I understand that is a romantic, and that draws out an emotion from us when we go back and look at a watch's history and see who actually came out with the innovations and the styles originally. Absolutely important. They paved the roads, right? Unfortunately, some of the companies that we can categorize within that are out of the price point for a lot of people. Now, that's the reason why we got to be okay on both sides, I think. But I'm super fired up when somebody wears a watch with a lot of history and a lot of heritage. Matter of fact, on your channel, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of information on watches that I don't want to sit down and learn. I don't want to sit down and learn on my own. I like learning from the community. I like learning from people who actually have the watch on their wrist, right? Because that means that that person really is romantically in love with the heritage and the story, and they probably have the most information about it and are fired up and enthusiastic to tell me. Like there's no greater energy than somebody explaining what's on their wrist. And I love that. And I think that we need a bunch of different collectors in the watch game, and we need a different angled approach to how people want to collect and bring it into the circle, right? Let's go back. I am digging your mods, man. I'd like to do a project sometime. Larry, I'm a big advocate for modding, man. So in the video that I'm working on, that I'm very passionate about. I'm passionate about all the videos that I make, but the direction of the channel, I've actually been leaning into more of what I am excited about, even more so. So okay, I want to talk more about watches that are already in my collection, right? Why? Because there's a reason why I put that watch in my collection, and it's a little different than me getting a watch as a reviewer and finding out for the first time. It's just more spice to it, right? And making the next video of, I think the title of it's going to be like 11 most important things about watch collecting, in my opinion. I've been super passionate. I've been taking my time with this video. I want to make it as much as I can, flex the skills that I can with the editing, but I also took my time to really explain each reason why I have for putting watches in my collection at this point in time. And I've been super passionate about that project, and I'm taking my time to edit that video. But for sure, watch modding is a big part of my collecting. I started early in my journey in doing that, and that was me expanding the hobby of watch collecting to offset the buying process. Now, you're still buying parts when you're doing modding, I get, but the fact that the project takes a little bit longer, you can buy affordable pieces, you can buy affordable parts rather, and make your own watch. And then there's a different connection. I've talked about this before. It's a different connection when you actually build your watch. You look and feel about that watch a little differently, and it gives you a little bit more perspective into watchmaking and really understanding what goes into, like, knowing that it's a skill. That when you're messing around with these very fragile pieces, you're like, okay, this is a talent, this is a skill. So Larry, I don't know if you're on Watch Crunch, but if you need any advice in modding, in what direction to go with, who has quality parts, where should you source it, how do I get my custom load, all of that, hit me up, let me know. If you want to ask me questions right now, ask me now. Watch collecting should be personal, 100% personal, absolutely. So I got to catch up on it. The funny thing is, I'm actually covering this topic today. Great minds think alike. Yes, sir, I'll finish that sentence. Absolutely, man. I just want to say that your channel is doing really good. Keep pushing and don't give up. Much love, host, and everyone in chat. Thank you, Pancake, for dropping that in. I appreciate that. Much love. True that. Hello. How are you, Eva? Oscar, I was actually talking to your nemesis about any live today from Trap. Nah, man, he's not a nemesis. What are you doing to me? Actually, you know what, man? So you guys know Simon B. No, Simone. Simone, I think it's pronounced. I just watched that too. I was like, damn, I was pronouncing it the wrong way the whole time. Simone B. started Wistful Ignorance. He started a channel, man, and Trap and I have given him inspiration for that. So if you guys haven't checked out his channel yet, he dropped his first video. I'm very proud of the man. That's the hardest part, is dropping the first video and getting out of your mind. But I'm always an advocate for growing the pie. And that for me is probably the most inspiring. I might maybe even make a video about what it looks like to start a channel talking watches specifically, right? All of the do's, don'ts. Obviously, I'm under a year here, so it's like, well, what do you have to say about it? But sometimes it's good to get the perspective of the young man, because the young channel that's coming in, because he just went through it. You know what I mean? Somebody who's been doing it for 15, 20 years, they forgot more than what I know, right? But at the end of the day, they forgot some things, right? And YouTube, works a little differently now as far as promoting channels. So anyway, I was super fired up to see Wistful Ignorance release his first video. If you guys haven't checked that out, I'll leave that in the description after the fact. Very happy to see another guy come up here and talk. And that guy has a lot of knowledge. Once he gets comfortable with the camera, he's going to kill it for sure. Not that he didn't kill it in his first video. I think he did. The first video is the hardest. And it's going to be crap. It's going to be crap. And you just got to mentally say to yourself, this is what it is. You're going to look back at this in 3 months, 7 months, a year down the line and say, okay. And it's a positive thing. You're only going to learn by doing. So anyway, that's another thing that I'm super excited for. Let me see. With that said, the romantic connecting to a watch company's innovation and birth people like us, from the editors of Houdinki to the cashiers, to post on Watch Crunch, horology, has grown. It has grown, man. It has grown, and it is a beautiful time to be a collector, because there's such a range, there's such a boom of independent brands. It's so dynamic, and a lot of these independent brands are starting to get their years of history. We're seeing history in the making. Right? We're seeing these independent brands do these innovations, listen to us watch enthusiasts, go to shows and get the feedback and implement things, and give us innovations down to the bracelet, to the watch, to everything else. So it's definitely becoming a actual beautiful time to collect. And I'll always give my flowers to those watch companies that have hundreds of years of history to it. You just have to. You can't ignore it. You can't minimalize them just because their watches cost more. It is what it is. And I absolutely agree, Trap. There's a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of room, and there's a lot of conversation to be had for those experiences. And I hope to one day be able to have the income to play around with those watches, if you will. Noctua is in the building. What's going on? Good morning. How are you? So you're actually my next topic, so it is good timing. Noctua is releasing his first watch, brand new independent brand, 1010, right? Hit me on chat if I got that right. I believe he's doing his first official release on 1010. Super excited for that, guys. You guys are going to see a watch company that has a lot of enthusiastic approach to it. First of all, the quality of watches is there. There are some things that are implemented in the watch company that is different from what you see on first releases. I've seen a few releases already. I'm actually involved with this release to some degree, because he reached out to me to kind of give him the feedback and do the review for his initial release, which will be coming out soon. It's going to be a little bit after 1010 because I'm waiting for all of the official parts. But I can tell you guys right now, the prototype that Noctua sent me, phenomenal. phenomenal. And I've gone everywhere from AliExpress parts to Nomoki parts to everywhere you can go. We were talking about custom watches a little bit earlier, and I can tell you guys right now, the parts are quality, and the design language that he implemented is very, very smart. I would say that, it's not going to be a brand new movement that you've never experienced. It's not going to be to that degree. I know that my man will eventually get to that part because I know how passionate he is behind this. And but for the first few watches that he's releasing, if you're a Loom fanatic, check out that channel too. He started a new channel with that, and he's released some teasers, if you will. And if you like Loom, baby, oh, you're gonna like this watch. You're gonna like this watch. It's super, super dope. So I'm really excited about it. I'm honored. Thank you so much for choosing a little guy like me for being a part of that. And I think that it's a little bit harder to unearth new companies that are coming out, new independent brands. But I think that I might make that part of my focus to try to search out these guys who are releasing watches for the very first time. And I think it'd be cool to say, yeah, Skyler Santana's channel, he gets in touch with a lot of brand new independent brands, and we get to see what's happening other than just seeing it pop up on Kickstarter or something like that, things of that nature. And I know a couple people already do that. Look, listen, if you're a bigger channel, they're reaching out to you. So it's a little bit more work for me because I have to find them, and then I got to hope that they don't look at my channel as being too small. It's a business thing at the end of the day. I'm not mad at it. But I count my blessings, and I think that we've been doing pretty good so far. So it is what it is. Yo, I just landed on this live stream randomly. Curious what this channel is all about. So this channel is all about wristwatches. We're always talking watches. We're always talking wristwatches on this channel here. To reviews, to modding, to brand new independent brands, to doing lives, doing interviews, doing random rants like this. This channel is for the watch nerd. And if you like watches and you want to learn about watches, I think this is a decent channel to learn about watches as well. I mean, you're learning with me at the end of the day, baby. So this channel's all about wrist watches. If you don't know, now you know. I agree, TrapVision 3D. I'm sick of hearing about Rolex and Patek. Yeah, so that's another thing, right? I actually looked, and this was mentioned in one of the lives that I was watching with Trap. Boulder came up, and it was like, yo, where is the news on Boulder? I think that's another thing that we have to, as content creators, start looking at the brands that are not being mentioned too much, especially if your interest is not only making the bag, right? Like if you're not really locked into like, oh, I got to get paid for this review, then you need to switch the game up and go for stuff that's not talked about, right? Because that's what's most exciting. And there's a lot of access to brands coming out that are brand new. And then there's a lot of good companies that I don't want to say fizzled out because they're still making fantastic watches. I mentioned Boulder. I'm not really necessarily using them as an example, just the example of not being talked about as much. And I don't know why. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it's that, but I think I'll get some minds together. We'll talk Travis, and I'll talk to Wristful Ignorance, a couple of guys, a couple of other reviewers, and I'll say, hey man, what's going on? Maybe we should start a content creator, what do you call that? Chat, right? So we can start just throwing some things around because it's about the value that we're giving the community at the end of the day. And there are people saying, hey, what's going on with this company? What's going on with that? Why am I only seeing this, that, and the third? So I think we need to start a chat. Travis, me and you will talk. Maybe we'll start something where we can actually bring up some companies that are not talked about so much or focus on other things like that. I'm a big watch collector. Subbing you right away. Appreciate you. Appreciate the sub, bro. Appreciate the sub. Hope you like the content. More to come, of course. I love that logo for Noctua. Right? That logo is super cool. Super cool. And I've been talking to Noctua, the owner. He's doing really cool things. He's thinking about everything. And that's what I really like. He's not just thinking about the watch. He's thinking about the packaging. He's thinking about a lot of different things. So I know for sure by the time it hits the ground, it's actually going to be something to be excited for. So for sure. Thanks, Trav. Yeah, the logo is really dope. I love that loomed eyes in there, man. It just all makes sense. Maybe even on that logo, like have like a watch background or like a silhouette of a watch. I don't know, but I like the logo for sure. Like at least, I mean, for the channel, not for the actual watch. Yeah, Trevision 3D. I'm down. I'm down. Yeah, yeah. So I'm just thinking about that. I'm thinking out loud here. I think if we had a chat where we can focus on what we need to be, what needs to be talked about, what needs to be the direction. I think if we get together on things and we get behind a movement, I know you pretty much, for me, have started the movement of it all started with the watch, right? And just having that, just combating the snobbery, right? I think that that's what we're doing here. We're combating the snobbery, and that's something that I focus, and going back to the important things that I'm making a video on. You know, I always end off saying it all started with the watch, because I think it's important for us to just have respect for one another, respect for what's on the wrist. Because look, you know what I think is a long lost art in many other categories, right? Be it politics, be it the economy, be it watches. I think that we've lost the art of just having a conversation. Why do we have to disagree and get into arguments, or there be snobbery, or there be like a back and forth where it's like negative, right? Like, why can't we just have a conversation where we don't necessarily agree? It's just like, okay, here's my point. Here's my reason why I feel like this. Let me listen to your reason why. Maybe we find common ground, but at least we gain the perspective of the other person to say, yeah, you know what he said kind of makes sense, right? And I can understand you taking that approach. And people's lives are very differently on what they could have, you know, obtain and everything else. So that's also like a thing. I'm JP, not JC. Oh, what I say, JC? Sorry, my bad, JP. I love you, bro. Laugh on Noctua. Great first watch. Yeah. Okay, let me just make sure I'm up on chat. So yeah, man, guys, if you have a moment, check out his new release coming out on 10/10. I believe he's gonna have a couple of options. I do advocate to say that they are gonna be very reliable and very tasteful. Very excited to see that happening. And Wristful Ignorance, if you haven't checked out his channel, for sure, Trap, we're gonna have a conversation. If anything, we should have clean debates on watches in a way that we can learn. That's the thing, bro. That is the thing. And I think that that could be implemented towards other things besides watches. But I think in the watch culture especially, because here's the deal, man. I always say this, but we forget how small this table really is. We should be looking to expand the table and not divide it, right? Because that's the whole point of all of this. And gaining perspective is the ultimate maturity, is the ultimate knowledge gainer. So, you know, I always love, listen, even if somebody says, I only like fashion brand watches, whatever the watch is, my knee-jerk reaction is not to say, oh, fashion brand watches, those are garbage. Absolutely not. I'm going to say, cool, what fashion brands? Why? You know, what are the things behind the reason that you value them? You know what I mean? Pick their mind on things, and I might learn something. And matter of fact, I guarantee that I will. So it's definitely important to have that kind of back and forth, that dialogue in a respectful way. There's no need for us to, you know, separate ourselves and really go into it. So, oh, I have some questions for you guys. I actually went live last weekend, but I had some technical difficulties. But we'll get a couple questions and we'll wrap things up. I don't want to be on here for too long. I'll probably stay for about an hour. Sun is in my eyes. That should be the reaction from any watch collector. Facts. Yup. We get passionate about what we love. I get that. However, we fail when we disrespect each other's ideas and taste. Done. Mic drop. It's exactly what I'm saying here. There should be an open forum. You shouldn't be afraid to wear whatever watch you want to wear. You shouldn't be afraid to be able to have a conversation about any subject on a watch, right? It's really silly. It's really silly, and it's moving backwards if that's the case. And there's a lot of that already out there, man. Why do we have to bring that into something that we're so in love with? Granted, we're passionate, and that's probably the reason why we butt heads. But walking into that conversation, we should have an open forum of what we're going to have an opinion on. You know what I mean? Let me listen. God gave me 2 ears, right? All right, so got some questions for you guys. Is there a watch out there that you'd be willing to trade for your entire collection? What? Your entire collection. I'm going to say that the answer to that question is probably no for most people, right? Because if you're a watch collector and you have like I got 50 watches, do I want to give all my watches away for one watch? There's not a watch out there for me. And I don't think that there ever will be. Obviously, okay, I'll change it a little bit even. Is there a watch out there that you would trade all your watches minus the ones that are really sentimental, right? Minus the ones that were maybe gifted or maybe, you know, that are very connected to you. You had the birth of your first child, you bought that watch. Not those watches, but all right, I got one for you. Would you also trade the watches that you regret in your collection, right? And you got to have like maybe like 4 to 5. You can't have one watch that you regret for the one watch that you want, because obviously, yeah. But part 2 to that would be, would you trade in the watches that you regret for the one watch that you want? Answer me that. We get passionate. I read that. Yeah, Trav is going to church today. He's preaching some good. Heck yeah, man. Trav is like a pastor, man. When he gets on here, he be dropping some knowledge. But he's got to be, I don't know, man. Trav's got to be careful with doing these lives publicly, man. You got to start going around with a bodyguard or something, man. You're having some distractions, to say the least, when you're out there, bro. You're getting too famous. No, hell no. He said, he said it like I was on his way to his house right now. Like, give me the watches that you said you'd trade. He said, no, hell no. Okay, I got it. I was just about to mention sentimental. Yeah, I know, because I asked that question, I wrote it down, and it actually hit me. I'm like, you can't give those watches up, baby. Like, I bought this watch when my son was born. You want me to give you this watch for that one watch? But it could be any watch you want. Any watch you want. Even if it's a 1-4 and poof, pow, it's in your collection now. That guy's beat. You know what I mean? But not minus the sentimental watches, obviously. You can't do that. I trade 7 of my watches I regret for one I really want. Okay, I got you. I think that there's a couple of watches I might trade too, man, and they're very early on, and it for sure wouldn't be a fair trade. But hey, you know, so that's the thing. It's like right now, currently, I'm still deciding what to do with those watches, man. I'm thinking I want to give them away to people that will appreciate them. Because here's the deal. I hate having the watches that I regret, or, you know, let's call it what it is. It's watches that we're not wristing anymore. So it's just sitting in the box. So it's not on a wrist, man. And I think that's not doing the watch justice. I think if somebody is really excited about a watch that I could give away and it's more of their cup of tea, I think that's what I want to do moving forward. Actually, I'm gonna get back to you on that, guys. I think I'm one live. I'm just gonna say, hey, this is what I got. Who wants them? You know what I mean? Type stuff. Watch check, everyone. Orient Defender. Orient, man. Okay. I'm gonna talk about that. Olive green. Orient, man. That's another company that, outside of the Bambino and outside of, I think they just came out with like a Panda watch, right? And everybody's talking about that, but they are a solid watch company, man, and I feel like I want to talk about them more. I know I did my review on the Bambino way back when, and I was thinking about redoing that one because I was early on, but I was thinking about, matter of fact, I reached out to Orient not too long ago, man. Who knows? I reached out to Orient. I said, hey, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they do collaborations, but I would love to talk about Orient watches more. I think that they are a little underserved. Yes, their Bambino is super popular. Yes, the Panda watch is probably getting some action, but I remember seeing a lot of the divers early on a lot, and I haven't seen a lot of those watches being talked about. I feel like I need to go through their collection and see, you know, if there's some more targeting stuff, because they make solid watches at the end of the day. They really do. And I think what jogged that is Zesei, the white-eyed dragon, is using one of their movements, right? So That's what made me, yeah, what's going on with Orient? Blah, 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 blah. So I reached out to them. Let's see. We'll never know. I'll talk about another watch brand that I'm excited about. Jengung. I don't know if you guys heard. Spinoff, not a spinoff. It's a sister company of San Martin. I'm so excited about them. Why? Because how long have we been saying, everybody knows at this point that San Martin's a fantastic watch, right? And they're the echelons of Chinese manufacturing and making a good watch, having great finishing, even when they're up close. You know, there's a lot to be said, and everybody at this point, I think, knows. Problem with San Martin was that they had a lot of the homage watches, which doesn't fit for everybody. Recent times, they have been stepping away with a couple of models. My 118 is an example of that, and I've showcased that a few times. But Jengung is a sister company that's an independent brand that's going to work more like an independent company that's only going to do original designs down to the watch, to the bracelet, and everything else. They had their wardrobe come out. That was like up and down. You know, I think what was lost in translation was that lug to lug measurement, but I'm super excited to see what they're coming out with because I know that they're heavily focusing on it. And what you can expect from them is the finishing of a San Martin mixed in with more of originality. So I'm watching them. They're under a microscope for me. Hopefully we can do something. Space G, which is Wristful Ignorance, is in the building. We talked about him earlier. Check out that channel, guys. He ripped that Band-Aid off, baby. He ripped the Band-Aid off. Still got like 7 to 8 fossil watches that I haven't work in forever. Yeah. However, they all have sentimental, place. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. That's where I'm kind of torn too, man, because listen, even though I was collecting a lot too quickly in the beginning, I still kind of have a lot of sentimental value because I'm like, yo, I remember when I was putting those watches in my collection. At that point in time, this was the grail, or this was super exciting for me. So for me to like step away from them is very, very difficult. There's a lot of sentimental value attached to it. It doesn't necessarily have a long story, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm still holding on to it because I don't want to regret giving them away, but I think that there's a couple of watches that I have that I might put on a wrist from somebody else that's going to warm it up. Let's see. Bro, that fountain is pimping. Not bad, right? I wish I had it on. I like that. I like that fountain. I'm actually at my parents' house right now, so this is all their setup, you know. Mommy, daddy. I'm at mommy, daddy's home. I have an impulse buy, never worn, and movement, planning to give it away to one of the high school mates and his mother. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's a good move, Stefan. That's exactly what I'm talking about, man. Give it to somebody, especially if you can find somebody who's just starting off in their journey and you just go, here you go. Like, you know, I know you're getting into watches and stuff like that. And that's another trick that I use too. Like, I've given a lot of watches to my brother because, you know, if ever I miss that watch, that's like a good first step, right? To really see if what you're deciding to give away, you're not going to regret. Give it to somebody that wouldn't mind you borrowing it for a couple of weeks if you changed your mind or if you missed it, right? Another thing is, look at how long it's been in the watch box, man. If you had it there for 6 months, chances are, you know, we got a human brain, so once we give it away, we feel like, oh, man. But, you know, I give my watches to my brother for that reason, because I'm like, if I miss that watch, I can always be like, yo, you know that watch I have? Let me hold on to that real quick. You know, that's another trick. Space G. Everybody say what up to Space G. Oscar's in the building. Yes, sir. That's in Oracle. Oh, I got to catch up. Hold on. Ranger, man, you got that Southside Detroit Riz going on. That zesty Riz. Yo, the trolls are strong. Yo, Trap or Space G, I got to make you guys moderators, bro. I don't know, man. We popping up like moles working on this second video now. Yo, get it out there, bro. Get it out. I'm hyped. I can't wait no longer, man. I'm waiting for that second video already after seeing that first one, dude. And you know, hats off to you, Space G, which, if you guys don't know, he's Wristful Ignorance. Hats off to you on that first video, brother, man. I have a few Orients. Yes, Kamasu in red. I was looking at that Kamasu in red, man. Do I have a red dial watch? See, this is how messed up we are, man. We're like, we get excited about, oh, I don't have a red dial watch. And then I'll look at the collection and I'll be like, wait a minute, that's red. Would you have too many? I was looking at that Kamasu red dial. Fire, fire. A carbon fiber. Oh, carbon fiber too. Ooh, Mako's another good one from them. Yep. Great watch company. Fantastic watch company, man. That's why I'm like, yo, I may want to hit them up and see if we could do something here and there and talk about some of their watch. I haven't checked out Orient yet. I should. You should. So picture, so they're under the Epson group. So obviously they have like a Seiko vibe, but they don't. You know what I mean? It's weird. They are associated more so for like their vintage inspiration, of course, with the Bambino. But as you see from the chat, you know, the Kamasu, the Mako, fantastic watch. And those were the watches that were talked about a lot back in the day. So, you know, that's why it just boggled me. It's like, yo, where they at though? Make me a mod, man. Yo, we'll talk, bro. Hit me up on Watch Crunch. You want me to make you a mod? No problem. Matter of fact, we got another modder in here that's probably a little bit more seasoned than me. So maybe you want to check him out. If you check out the guy Dad Mods Watches, he's got an actual page where he sells modded watches. So you might want to check that out. You know, I got an Elgin with diamonds all over it. Fire. Yeah, I know they are owned by Seiko, but they run they run completely independently. Their movements are all different for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously that's the parent company. That's what secures them, but completely ran differently, and you can definitely get a different vibe from them altogether. So we'll check it out, man. We'll check it out. Like I said, we gotta run up a kind of chat where all of us can put our minds together. I think that's the best way. Just so like that, we can also line up, you know, the direction and the values of the content moving forward. Because just like micro brands, content creators, we got to listen to what the community is seeking for, what they're looking for, right? It's not enough to just throw against the wall, right? We kind of have to see, okay, what are they valuing? What's being, you know, missing from the content and everything else. So, Thelonious Monk, what is going on? Good morning. Good morning. Saying what up to Monk. So yeah, man. We got a few. I got a whole bunch of questions, but I think we'll do. How much time is it? All right, so we'll do one more. Let me just search through these questions real quick. Kind of touched on this already. What is your most worn watch in your collection and why? That I'm interested in because, listen, man, that ties together with what we're valuing as a collector and the values that we have to our watches. They shift and change. But I think that wherever you are in watch collecting, there's always like that one watch that you wear most of the time. Maybe it's more fitting for the occasion. Maybe it's just more comfortable. Maybe it's right on the money for, you know, what you want to represent on your wrist. But that's my question to you guys. And for me, right now, I'm rotating as much as I can because I'm trying to zero in. And the Watch Crunch app actually helps with that because that tracks what watch you're wearing for the day. And it actually gives you a pie graph of what watches you've had on your wrist, when was the last time you worn it, what do you wear, what companies. It's very, very good. That alone, it was a very smart move for them to implement because that alone could be an app, right? And I know this because I was looking for something like that. And there's a lot of other things, but the way that it was done, it was just too involved. The way that Watch Crunch integrated what's on your wrist with actually tracking those things is great information for you to know what are you just naturally gravitating to. And it only is a click away because underneath what you post for the day is a section where you're tagging in what is actually being worn for the day, and then that goes into that pie graph and gives you that kind of information. So it's segmented on a lot of things, specifically on what watch is on your wrist, but also what companies, right? You're wearing mostly your Seikos or mostly this, and it's mostly this watch. So if you're looking for something to track, because that's kind of hard, like even if I look at my watches in my watch box, I'm like, I don't even remember when or where, but it'll tell you, oh, you wore this watch a year ago, and you're like, oh, okay. But you know, you also have to make sure that you're jotting it down. But I think that that's the easiest way to do it. Just a click of a button, you're posting it, you're interacting, and you're getting to see what watches you're wearing the most. Very smart. Very smart. Ha ha, gonna get confusing. Oh, hold on. Da 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 da. Something on. Everybody singing what up? DMW. I mean, October. Yeah. It's gonna get. Those who know. If you're saying DMW and you see Knock2 Corp, those who know. You know. Cleaning house and charging phone, so I won't be. That's all right. That's all right, bro. Do your thing. Do your thing. Gotta do that fall cleaning instead of spring. JP, my link is above. Yes. Wistful Ignorance, guys. If you guys were wondering who I was talking about before, he is posting in the chat. Check out his first video. A lot more to come from. The man is very knowledgeable. He's come up to the stage on lives before. He's now working on long form content, and he's got a lot to say. Specifically, he is an Aragon. He's an Aragon guy. A lot of knowledge on that, a lot of watches. And if that is a company that you like, and that's a company that actually I'm inspiring to learn more from, so I'm just waiting on you, brother man, to give us those gems. If that's a company you like, and Aragon has been doing some great things, I'm sure that he's going to be talking about that eventually very heavily. Are you going to wind up? And if so, are you most hyped? What are you most hyped to see? I am going to wind up all 3 days like a junkie. Who am I most excited to see? You know what, Thelonious? I don't really have a one company that I'm most excited to see, dude. I'm like a kid in a candy shop. I'm excited to see everybody. I'm excited to see what they're showcasing. A lot of them from last year will be just like a checking in type of thing and seeing what they're working on, but seeing them live and everything else. I'm excited to see you guys at the wind up, man. That's what I'm excited to see. Watch Crunch is doing the after. I almost said after party. Watch Crunch is doing the after meetup on Saturday. I think it's going to start at 6. So I'm excited to interact with you guys and find out what excited you the most and cross-reference some information on what you guys saw at the show. I'm in general, I want to see everybody. Okay, maybe the Bel Canto, because you guys know that's been my grail watch. And I do this because it's like that can change at any moment's notice. But I want to put that watch on my wrist. Yeah, that's going to be the most exciting thing. I answered the question. I mean, who's not excited to see Christopher Ward, right? I want to see how that watch looks on wrist. I want to see some of the other, like that big loom block watch that they came up. There's a lot of stuff that you can see from them. But in general, I'm excited to just see who's there. You got Jody, who's going to be there for the first time, for his first show. I believe that's his first show. It's always nice to connect with Mark. Venetianico, they are like, before they were more like, they always had interesting watches, in my opinion. Now, with Venetianico, it was always like, the price point, man. You're getting an NH35. Why are we paying so much? What's up, bro? My brother just woke up. But they're becoming very quickly to be a dial company. What? Tell me not. The dials that they're doing, man, beautiful. And I have an example of that, having their Aventurine glass, Rendendoi Aventurina. Yeah, that watch. And they also have that all blacked out. Right? So like from there, I think they did a gold dial. I think that they've done like landscapes in their dial. I mean, I'm just seeing a lot of reviewers come out with a lot of their dials. So I'm really excited. Now, I haven't been in contact with them directly because I think I'm being respectful here. There's a little bit of a language barrier. So I don't think that with US customers they have, or maybe they just want to put me on ignore. I don't know. But I think that, seeing them and interacting with them in person and connecting and seeing their watches is going to be very, very good. I don't know if Vario is going to be there. I hope Vario's there because I would love to meet Ivan in person. I'm just going to end up listing off everybody who's going to be at that show. So I'm really excited to see everybody. There's a lot of things that, we all know Jack Mason is now Jacques Mason because of their Swiss-made parts now in there. So they're getting a little fancy. It's always good to see my man Peter. Notice is doing a collaboration with Watch Crunch, so I definitely have put them on notice to check out their watches a little bit more in depth. You got Laurier, who are fantastic people. They've done heavily vintage inspired watches, so I obviously want to say hi to them. I want to say hi to everybody, man. That's where I'm at. And if I had to put a thing on it, I would say the Watch Crunch meetup is probably going to be the most exciting thing, and or bumping into you guys at the show. If you're not going to the Watch Crunch meetup, I'm planning to go all 3 days. So if you see me walking around, it shouldn't be hard to do. I'm like 6'4" with big glasses, so it should be easy to spot me. But I'm excited to see you guys in person, man, interact with you, and hopefully we can grab a drink at the Watch Crunch meetup. If not, just trade information like we always do. Let's catch up on chat. I already subbed on both accounts. Yeah, sub up, guys. Sub up to Noctua, sub up to Riskful Ignorance. Those are up and coming things that you really want to be keeping your eyes on, man, for sure. Are you going to? And I read that already. Gotta run, but Stefan, thank you for coming in, bro. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for chatting. I appreciate you. Cheers, brother. I like the Aragon loon bracelet before. Loon bracelet, yeah. I gotta check that out. That sounds exciting. Here come the mosquitoes. Are you a fan of Fairer watches? I know that they are one of the people to look out for sure, man. So going to the show, that's one of the brands that I have to brush up on. That's one of the brands that I'm excited to see what they're looking for. I don't know stuff off the top of my head like I did with the other companies that I mentioned, but I'm definitely excited to see them as well. I know that they pack some heat with their, oh snap, Fairer has some heat. I know they pack some heat with their watches, so I'm excited to see what they're doing. Listen, man, there's a whole slew of companies nowadays, man. We see that watch show is growing. And as a matter of fact, when I went onto the website, I saw that there were some more companies still being added to the list of who's going to show up. Jody's going to be there. You guys all know and probably love his channel as well. I'm excited to see his. I might pick up an Islander. I don't know. We'll see, man. There's a lot of exciting things to. I want to see the full range, man. I want to see the vintage inspire. I want to see the innovators. I want to see the people with history. I want to see it all. As far as content goes, I'll be honest with you guys, man. I think I'm just gonna go there for the most part as an enthusiast. I'm gonna try to do some recordings, and I think initially I was gonna do a live, but that poses a lot of different aspects to it. You know, whether you can get Wi-Fi, the mics, the this, the that. You know, I might just leave it to me doing some recordings and putting it all together and doing some B-roll and just try to enjoy the moment. You know what I mean? I know I was talking about doing lives and giving you guys a lot of footage, but to be honest with you, I think I need to soak in a lot of information responsibly as a content creator on watches before I can just go live. And because I want to get to the point where I can get in front of every booth and then do like this and just give you a rundown and be like, oh, this is who they are, this is what they're doing. And I can't do that for every single brand that's going to be at the Windup, nor do I think that I'll ever be able to, because I'm hoping that it continuously grows. My point is this: I'd rather soak in the experience, give you guys a little bit of B-roll, give you guys a little bit of talk through of it. Maybe I'll even do a little bit of footage on the Watch Crunch meetup, but I want to be in the moment. I want to go as an enthusiast too, and I might want to just soak it in all 3 days. You know what I mean? Trap, no problem, brother. I'm wrapping things up anyway, so if you're going live, good luck, my man, and we will talk soon. I'm sad Monta won't be there. Monta's not going to be there? Oh, man. I didn't know that, man. I didn't know Monta's not going to be there. That does suck. I wonder why. I could have sworn I seen their name on the list. I bought a SkyQuest at that show last year. Yeah, man, I was really actually excited to pull up on them and really soak in, because, you know, Travis has covered them. A lot of people have vouched for them and say that they make phenomenal watches. So I was actually really excited too. I'm sad to see that they're not going to be there. That sucks. You, Skyler Santana, you be there next year representing Santana and Noctua watches. Let's go, baby. Do a collaboration, open up a booth. You planted seeds, brother, man. Last time we talked, we might have to do that, bro. We might have to do that. It's expensive though. I'm just letting you know. I would imagine that's like a big show, but yeah, we'll talk, man. We'll talk. You never know. We might do a Santana / Noctua collab. That'll be crazy, man. That'll be crazy. That's a whole nother subject. Hey, brother, I'm out. All right, Larry. Yeah, we're wrapping things up, man. I'm asking too much from you guys. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, and we're well over the hour now. So They make good watches, and to be honest, the price point is tough. Yeah, and I heard that from, I think you might have told me, Thelonious, that they don't give you really any discounts. Like a lot of the people there, they'll give you a 10 to 15% discount at show. But I think Monta's one of the ones they're like, this is what the watch costs, my man. You want to walk away? You got to pay this. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for joining in, man. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys for checking in on a Sunday. And don't forget, this all started with a watch. So no matter where your watch collection journey takes you, no matter how you decide to collect, you guys are all welcome on this channel and in this community, as you should be. I appreciate you guys for spending some time with me on a Sunday, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one.